Back to Trump in this regard, we just saw it. That world just saw. It wasn't a press conference or anything like that. I don't call it that. Him with Ukrainian President Zelensky and how he went at him and what have you. Now, Zelensky, if I remember correctly, you didn't speak too highly of him. I want to make sure I'm quoting you accurately. You called him a homosexual actor. Is that true? Did you call him that?
I also just called him the neighborhood crackhead, kind of just goes around asking for money. I've called him a welfare queen, ghetto. This is the thing. The media kind of had me depicted throughout BLM as this person that uses these words to describe Black people. I'm like, no. Let's be very clear. When I'm calling somebody like Zelensky a welfare queen, there's a reason for that. You come here with your hand out, asking, making demands. It's funny because I was having a discussion with my husband about this. And, it's people that tend to need the most that make these sorts of demands, and they're so arrogant. He's taken billions away, unaccounted billions, by the way. So you and I have to get to work because Zelensky wants his borders protected, and we can't have our borders protected because that would be a racist thing to ask for. But he's allowed to demand that you and I get to work because he's spent all the billions. His wife is shopping in Paris. The oligarchs in Ukraine are all buying yachts. And yeah, I have absolutely no respect for him, but I want to say I have not respected that man since day one. This is not something that's new. I just saw him coming.
It's not something that's new, but what about Trump and Vance and how they conducted themselves? You and I might disagree on this particular issue because I don't disagree with what you're saying in terms of, I was on the record saying, listen, you're coming with your hand out, you need money. You might not want to be confrontational. You might want to be a bit more diplomatic, Zelensky, because you're the one that's in need. And Trump wasn't wrong when he said, or you don't have any of the cards. You don't have any of the cards. The flip side to it, however, is that the press conference, you're in the Oval Office. We know this is the White House. This isn't someplace in Ukraine. And he's got broken English, and you got the vice president interrupting him. You got them, I thought, somewhat bullying him to some degree. I just didn't think it was necessary. It was a good look. That's where I'm coming from. Am I wrong in feeling that way?
No, I think you're perfectly, these are your feelings. They're valid, right? If that's how you felt. For me, I felt it was refreshing. I'm so tired of politics. I know they always button it up for us. They're constantly telling us, this, and saying things that sound good, but don't actually result in good things. And I think it was sort of the frustration of how much he has taken from America to not come with some respect. And I likened it to, even when you go to your granddad's house and it's your birthday, your mom kind of makes you wear something special. He's going to give you a card and slip some cash in there, $100. Granddad's always good for that. And you just come with some decorum and some respect. This dude has been wearing military fatigues for like 5 years now. Okay. Put on a suit. As soon as he gets out of the car, Trump's like, well, he's dressed up. This should let you know, this should signal to the public that what he's doing is an act. Why? Give me a scenario, a reason why he can't put on a suit. Even if you're in the midst of a war, why can't you put on a suit when you're coming to ask for money? Well, because he wants people to see him as a guy that's downtrodden in the trenches. And he's not that. This guy has been on the cover of Vanity Fair. He's been on the cover of Vogue. He's been on the cover of Forbes. He's doing photo shoots. He did a 3-hour podcast with Lex Friedman. He asked and was declined a spot to go to the Oscars a couple of years ago. And so this is making a mockery. It's just making him put on a suit.
See, this is why people got to be careful about messing with you, because I was getting ready to disagree with you until you threw out those last. I didn't know he tried to go to the Oscars. I didn't know he tried to be on the cover of Vogue. I didn't know that stuff, Candace. I honestly didn't know. Okay, that does change it a little bit.
And he is a literal actor, by the way. You know that, right?
That I know. What I will say this, any sympathy for the fact that Russia did attack his nation. I mean, that there is some sympathy for that, right? We see the rubble. We see the catastrophe that is Ukraine. We see Putin bombing them, for crying out loud. We've seen that happen, right?
Yeah. So the thing for me is, and the reason why I say that I've had this opinion since the very beginning, is I don't rely on politicians. I think all politicians lie. And so I was reading the transcripts leading up to this moment of Putin's speeches and Biden's speeches and trying to discern what the truth was. And Putin was saying, you guys gave us assurances that NATO was not going to expand 1 inch eastward into our territory. Essentially, NATO is a military. We were putting a military on his border, despite in 1989, when the Berlin Wall came down, as a condition, an agreement for them to agree to take down the Berlin Wall. We promised, and you can go look at this in NSA declassified documents. James Baker was the Secretary of State at that time.
Yes, he was.
We promised them that we would never move NATO eastward. So you have to imagine the memory that they have, and they're going, why are you now doing that? Now all of a sudden we're saying that Ukraine is going to join NATO, and he's saying this is unacceptable. America can't keep changing its mind. And so when I was able to validate what he said and to read the speeches, you cannot cannot walk away from that without an understanding that we are the aggressors. Everything that we say Russia is doing, recreating the Soviet Union, we are doing that. What is the European Union? What is NATO? And we've been getting away for it for too long under this guise of quote unquote spreading democracy. So I fundamentally disagreed with what I saw as Western propaganda trying to paint Putin as a monster for holding us to our promises and not telling the public that. He just randomly woke up one day and just said, I want to do hood rat stuff with my friends, and he's went into Ukraine. That's a fairy tale. That's not what happened. And not beyond that, like you saw when he sat down with Tucker Carlson, he asked to join NATO himself. Why are we not having a productive relationship with Russia? I call that Cold War hangover. People that grew up under their desks afraid of a nuclear bomb can never see Russia outside of being villainous. And quite frankly, I think Zelensky He's suspended elections. He's locked down churches. He's locked up nuns. I'm a Christian. I don't like this guy at all.
That's
I just don't like him.
That's Candace Owens being quite honest. I get that part.
Damn.
Bro,
I gotta keep it 100. As far as media and relaying information and articulating into a thought, I don't know anybody who's better than Candace. Like the way she just articulated all those thoughts to Stephen A.
No stutter.
I just feel like I was just educated so much. Like I feel like I had some information on it, but the way she just articulated all those points and those thoughts, it's like, damn.
Yeah, it's insane. She might actually be number one.
That's what I'm saying. Like I can't think of anybody better.
Andrew Tate, those are like maybe the three best people who I've heard communicate and articulate and argue a point.
I'm gonna go her and Scott Jennings.
I didn't know
Scott too.
She got to be one.
She kind of messed me up about the Berlin Wall because I forgot after the Berlin Wall, that's when they were supposed to spread democracy.
That's when the Soviet Union, Soviet Union, because it was East Germany and West Germany.
But it's crazy that they still trying to attack Russia like that, and they don't even have a Soviet Union no more. They only got the SSR, like the actual just Russia. Like think about all the other countries that was a part of the Soviet Union is not a part of the Soviet Union no more. So like, what's going on for?
Yeah, it seems like the point she's making. It seems like they're attacking him almost.
It seems like they're trying to strong arm them and like justify it by blaming them as like being some villains, and like just due to the, like she said, the hangover of their previous actions, people buy it and eat it up. Because I mean, if we did agree that we wouldn't move it eastward, when we already understand that they don't want Ukraine in NATO, I mean, and they're not allowed to join NATO, and now this country that they gave their independence is about to join. I mean, and we're violating old promises that we've made. I mean, I can understand why they'd be upset about that. I mean, imagine someone did that to the U.S. We're not playing about that.
It's crazy, and they was trying to make it seem like it's a Red Scare again, like back in the day. Like they're trying to bring all the back. Like the 60s and 50s issues back in today's time.
When they said we was Russian spies, I said it's all bullshit.
No, that's what I was going to say.
Like the fact that people believe this Russian stuff so much, they was like, oh, you guys are Russian spies. You're a freaking idiot. It's all bullshit.
4 black niggas is Russian spies.
Yeah, okay.
You know what else made me like after hearing China put tariffs on Canada, like what is going on overseas? Like we know some, is this some like backdoorish we don't know that Europe doing or something? Or
I think everything changed when Trump became elected, because now we have a president in the most powerful nation that all the other leaders respect. So it just changed the entire world. You see how quick all this stuff happened? Why wasn't this happening 3-4 months ago? Because Joe Biden was in office and everyone could bully the U.S. and including Zelensky coming and getting whatever he wanted from the U.S.
But it's like, it seemed like all the countries literally was their presidents or their prime ministers was all liberals. Like, how'd that happen? Like, from our side all the way across Europe.
Europe is extremely liberal.
I would say Europe, for the most part, is extremely liberal.
So
if we were doing this in Europe, what we are doing right now, they would lock us up.
So we would all be in jail. You don't think they have at least a tad bit of a left-leaning, right-leaning?
I mean,
like they probably do. Poland. We sound Poland getting down.
Ireland has like a right leaning, like they're trying to start to go right. Like they have it, but like right now,
the left
is killing over there.
You think it's because of the Nazi situation?
Yeah, that's what Joe Reed said.
That was so long ago, though, bro.
That's what Joe Reed said.
So you think they can't find a happy medium of being right?
I think that there's.
How America is.
I mean, I wouldn't say that we even have a happy medium. I would just say that we are just more inclined to different ideas. Like over there, if you express different ideas, it's to the point that the left is so in control, they're arresting people for that. Like people are speaking out. I remember this lady was jailed for making a Facebook comment because these people that raped someone got off, and she made a comment. They put her in jail.
And not the people who raped them.
Yeah, I'm saying he got off. So I mean, like the fact that shit like that is even allowed to happen is telling you there's censorship to where they can control the narrative, and that one side that's put the censorship in place is just going to stay in power because they censor the other side.
And that's
same
literally
way,
how Hitler did what he did.
exactly the same way Zelensky's doing all those things that are bad with our money, and now he's talking about, oh, everything's downtrodden, but his wife's shopping in Paris and all the rich people are getting richer over there and everyone else is getting exploited. I mean, we should have a problem with that.
They're
But
pulling random people off the street
they're
and forcing them to go
They're not
die
letting
in
us
war.
they're not letting us get the minerals, and then we're paying the most in NATO. That's a
I
problem.
see why Trump be going over there, don't want to shake nobody head, be
I probably
fucking
lost-
shoulders on the
I ain't gonna
whole
lie,
ass European.
I probably lost my $200 off this point that Candace just articulated because
What was your argument? What was the
we was arguing that I think that Zelensky's gonna get into NATO
Oh yeah, you crazy for that.
for the at that being the deal.
Well,
It
after
could
that
be
last
possible.
meeting we just had with Trump and JD and them
But-
and Zelensky, their relationship
Yeah,
might be
and this is
forever.
if we're getting effed over that bad by
Forever
Europe,
done.
Trump's not gonna allow that shit.
Nah.
So I mean, yeah,
business.
Yeah,
I
so-
probably lost my $200. I see why y'all can't put a base right on my border.
We've been
And-
saying that, man.
And y'all not allowing me into NATO, and then y'all allowing the country that I gave they independence
Russia don't
to?
wanna be
yeah,
in NATO,
nah.
though.
Yeah. They tried to get in it.
Russia?
Yes.
Yeah,
Russia tried to join NATO.
I
Yes,
can
that's
see, I
what
can see
Candace
that
just
because
said.
like why they ended up joining BRICS. Like, did they have to join BRICS? It's a reason
don't
why
know.
they had
That's
to
what
do
she
that.
They
literally
wanted to
just
get
said.
there. They wanted to put that American dollar out.
That's what just changed my whole mindset. But
Yeah, because they took off a
She
whole
said
gas.
that Russia tried to join
yes,
NATO.
then she just said that.
Yes, he said Russia has to join NATO.
I can see that because, like, think about it. Europe cut off all the gas lines, try to cut off all the money, export goods and everything to Russia. So, like, if your country in need, like, what else you
Just
gonna
because
do?
they got Putin, bro.
I mean,
Yeah, what else you do?
even the fact that like Russia is literally a part of that continent. They're attached to like Europe. They like are bordering a lot of those countries. So the fact that all these European nations are teaming up and they're like, no, y'all can't come. But y'all can have every country around us and we can't.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I feel like if they're a country that's as powerful as everyone claims and they're a world power, why would we not combine all the world powers if the goal is to make a national treaty of world powers? You know what I'm saying? Like, they're probably a more powerful country than almost
Any of
all those
those.
European nations.
definitely
yeah, it's because of
are.
the ideologies.
Well, no, and I think that and because NATO was started right around the time we had beef with Russia.
But y'all got also remember Russia still is
Not a democracy.
yeah, it's communism
So that's why
still.
but they're damn near not a democracy based
Yeah,
off
well.
what Candace just said.
No,
Yeah,
actually,
liberal-
that's the problem, though. They're not either.
They're not either.
Well, listen, this is the thing, and this is the thing that gets me in trouble because obviously, me being a black man, me being a centrist, sort of center left as opposed to center right, I've been one that was inclined to vote Democratic, you know, at least for the presidency for the vast majority of my life. If it was anybody other than Trump, I think I would have voted conservative this time around. I'm sort of becoming even more enlightened. I'm going to use that word because I was so disgusted with the left and what I saw. My patience is run thin at times. And then I've listened to you over the years. And one of the things that I didn't like is like what you just described, what people would say about you. And I'm saying, well, wait a minute. Is she wrong? What is she saying that you disagree? How come you can't say you disagree with and make your points as to why, like she
I can
does,
respect this.
as opposed to just attacking her? Which brings me to my next question. What's it like being a black conservative in America?
Great question.
Nobody better
Hell of
ask
a-
this question than you.
That's a fact.
Honestly, it's a hell of a lot easier than it was when I first got into this back in 2015 because that was the first time they saw Trump and people just could not see past how could this possibly happen. And I think the media had a stronger hold on people's minds then than it does now. Now we've seen the explosion of independent media. People are able to get their voices out outside of the New York Times and CNN and Fox News, and that's helped tremendously to defeat all of these media caricatures that are being created. But I find it now, it's pioneering, to put it in a nice way. And I think it's the most rewarding thing ever when what I have found is that if you just stand for truth, even in the beginning when it's really hard and people say terrible things about you, and I've been called everything you could possibly imagine, then there's that moment, even if it takes years, where they do come back and they say you were right, particularly about BLM. I mean, I was hitting the drum about the finances so early, and I'm going, I'm not saying that you don't have feelings about this thing, but I am telling you something else is going on. And this is going to harm the black community in the end. This money is just going to be zapped out of communities and communities are going to be destroyed. And then when that was proven right, it was so refreshing to hear people say, yeah, we kind of hated her for a really long time. We're kind of saying this for a really long time. And then, the fraud of Patrice Cullors and what they were doing with the money. And so my brain just works differently. I am different and I'm happy being different. I don't want to be the same. But I also do respect, I think I've learned in the process as well, is to just respect where people are at. You know, my sisters did not like where I was at when I started
How many
speaking in the
sisters
way
do you
that I was
have?
speaking.
How many sisters do you have?
I have 2 sisters and they're my best friends. So one is a year older, one's a year younger. So I grew up, we're like a trio.
So they sandwich you. They sandwich you. They will get you. They sandwich you, huh?
Well, they just didn't really care.
Right.
You know, to me, that's Candace. I've always been different, you know,
Right.
and they didn't know what I was on or what I was thinking. And now this last election, they voted for Trump, which is crazy. Like that means they were fully on the left and they just sort of saw it. And so it's just been cool to see that. And they now like my podcast. Before they didn't even listen to it. But we always had, I grew up obviously in not obviously, but my family has a great sense of humor. And that was one of the worst things I hated about BLM is that I've always thought that Black people culturally, we're the funniest. Right? We're the funniest. You always want to go listen to Chris Rock, Chris Tucker. And you saw that removal where everything was just taken so seriously. We're so easily offended. And I hated that. I thought the best parts of what the Black culture represented to me growing up was removed. And for me, my sisters, they never cared. Like I'd be like, can you watch my cat? I have to go to a Trump thing. And my sister would be like, oh, are you going to another one of your Klansman rallies? Like, yeah, I'll watch your cat, you know? It was always a joke.
Yeah, and I get it. And I guess for me, because I think about it, and I remember when you showed up, I believe it was in Paris, you were with Kanye West, and you were wearing the White Lives Matter shirt and what have you. And I said, damn. And I was upset. I was actually upset at you. And here's why, Candace, because I looked at it and I said, no, don't give the ammunition. Don't give the ammunition. You can sit up there and you can talk to folks about your views, what you know, and educate folks without them being closed-minded because they saw something and visualized something and automatically deemed that you were against us as a people.
Right.
So, I mean, as you reflect on a moment like that and you talk about the Black community and politics, how do you feel? How do you gauge what's the right thing to do and what's not the right thing to do?
You know, for me, the discussion and polite discussion, it doesn't work. I have found that. You can go back and watch me on stage with T.I. and Killer Mike, and it doesn't work with the Black community. And I have a theory on this, and I think partially it's because we have this instance of father absence. But there's a lot of attitudes. There's a lot of attitudes. And if you try to come politely, you're just going to get disrespected. And so in terms of the White Lives Matter shirt, first off, Kanye, that's how he communicates. He communicates with art. That's like, this was Kanye's thing that I was stepping into, but I understood what he was saying there because he is someone that does not like, no one puts Kanye in the corner. No one tells Kanye what he has to be. And so when you start saying, oh, I'm going to superimpose you just being a Black victim onto someone like Kanye West, and you know, he hated when white people would come up to him and say Black Lives Matter. So he's like, okay, you want to patronize me? Oh, let me patronize you. Your life matters too, right? Like, oh yeah, like white lives matter too. And I want you to know that white lives matter. Your life matters. He never liked that, the patronization of it. And so I felt the same way. And we communicate differently. I usually am using more bombastic words, but that moment to me, especially as someone who grew up and really Kanye's music kind of gave me the courage to be myself, to not have to be.
That is so fast. I love the way she's articulating all this.
Me too.
That is,
it's refreshing.
Every time I listen to something from Candace, I just feel so refreshed. You know, she just
reassured in my beliefs.
You know, facts, because she's just like so well spoken and like she comes across very confident, very honest, authentic. Genuine. Like you just can't deny this woman. And the fact that people still refuse to listen to what she has to say and hear the articulation.
Because you know who's smarter?
Wow. Jasmine's smarter than her.
That's why they refuse. Imagine them debating.
If Jasmine spoke in this manner, like when she does speak articulately, I might be more willing to listen to what she has to say. But when she starts putting on that act, that sister girl act, I just can't stand that shit. I cannot stand that shit. This to me is easily more digestible, more respectable, and I love it.
And it's coming with facts.
It's facts.
Like, I mean,
Candace is a
how
real
can you
one, bro.
deny it?
Yeah.
Anyone with common sense, you can't deny what she is saying is right.
And even if you don't agree with it, you have to respect the fact that she is being honest and standing. She's standing 10 tones on what she believes. You know, always, regardless of what people say about her. And I really respect that a lot. And when we talk to her, because y'all know we got to meet Candace, I brought up to her one of the best things I ever thought I heard her say, and that was, "You're not gonna bully me into believing what you believe. I don't give a damn.
It's
Like,
insane.
that's what it is. I was like, that is very true. Like, you got to stand on business. If you got a backbone, like if you ain't gonna stand for nothing, you gonna fall for anything. And so I really respect what she does.
I agree.
And that's a good point, though.
I agree. And when we spoke to her, she quoted what you said on stage. When she
Yeah, I wish I
spoke.
would have heard that, bro.
Yeah, I remember. I watched her go out there, and I was like, "Wait, Brock literally just said that to her."
Yeah, we had a
Oh, that's
conversation.
crazy.
She
But
a
now,
gangster
actually,
though,
though,
for real, bro.
Black Lives Matter, that is kind of like little brother. Like,
Hey,
your life
buddy.
matter, bud.
It's all right.
You
supposed
matter,
to
Brandon.
be
Kanye
here,
being
In
a
case you
millionaire.
didn't know, you matter, bud.
buddy. You're supposed to be in this office because of these.
I can see why Kanye got mad about that. Like,
How's your
what you
day,
mean my
little
life
Taji?
matter?
You're so articulate.
Yeah.
You're so smart.
Your life matters.
Yeah, I'm supposed to
Yeah,
be
that is-
here.
that
That's
is
why
really
I
bad.
get mad sometimes. Like, Candace, this is articulation. But when a regular black person is talking regular and you say, they're so articulate.
That's patronizing.
That's what I'm saying. Like, okay,
You just
damn.
demeaned me. You actually just demeaned me by saying
Actually,
that.
yeah,
Like,
because
like
I thought you
you're
was finna be a dumbass.
Yeah, you're,
That's
you're,
what
it's
Black
like
Lives
you're
Matter
surprised that I'm
Literally.
intelligent.
Exactly. That's exactly what it is.
Well,
We
guys,
need it, guys. We need for you niggas to get spots in our
But hey, we need to get on Candace's show, bro.
yeah.
Let
And
me
we
start
had
saying
that
the
opportunity.
N-word,
We're
y'all.
going to hit her up
Sorry,
again.
y'all.
We're gonna
Oh,
see if
I
it
would
comes
love
back
that
through.
opportunity.
Yeah.
That podcast would be crazy.
That would be phenomenal.
And to be honest with you, I love. You know what? We should have Candace on and like set her up with Jazz. Find a way to just.
It would
you-
get bad, bro. Like,
I wouldn't want to watch that.
I would
Neither
love-
of them. I don't think either of them would want to do it, though.
Bro, it would be a crime scene.
Yeah, that
Would
would-
it really?
Oh
I
my
know,
God.
I know.
It would be actually bad.
You know, I think Jasmine, like, rather than try to have a productive conversation, I can like predict this because obviously she's a liberal black and she plays that character. So I just think rather than try to have a productive conversation with Candace, she's gonna resort to trying to attack her, and then all the other.
I don't
sisters,
think she's gonna be
you
able-
white girl.
No, I'm
That's
gonna
what
keep it
that-
100.
I
I don't
guarantee
think
you
she's
that's
gonna
what
be
the
able
response
to
is gonna
attack
be.
her though.
Bro,
I think it'll
she's
be
gonna-
more. She
she's
can't
gonna
put a
find-
race card or
No,
none of
she's
that.
gonna
It's
find some
be
way to
straight-
attack her. I
gonna
don't even
bring up her
understand why you
husband.
would even like give her that grace.
gonna
So
say you're
long as she's not
self-hating.
gonna attack her.
She could say I'm a
she
white
would.
husband.
What has she did that we've seen her say somebody else self-hating for being black? I've never seen Jazz.
See,
She's
you
never
see,
spoke on
we're-
black Republicans,
You know what I'm
though.
saying? Like you're giving her grace to
gonna
say
do
she's
that.
gonna like not. I feel like if
I'm
we
giving
sat
her
them
grace. I am.
in front of them, I think she's gonna find a way to try to
100%
attack her.
gonna do that.
That way, all them black liberals that she appeases by playing that character are gonna be like, "She's right, you right," snapping their
Like,
fingers and shit.
their
That's
facts
what I assume.
are dumb facts.
That's what I would assume. I
Emotional
don't think they would
facts.
have a good conversation based off who I think
She
Jasmine
gonna bring
would
up her
be.
white husband, but Kamala had a white husband. They're not
I don't
very
even think.
bright.
I don't even think she would
But
go
okay.
there. That's a low blow. That's low.
She
I
just
think,
didn't say
I
she
think
said.
she would.
If she
call
bring that up,
self-hating or
that'd be
something
so
like that.
crazy, bro.
Let us know what y'all think, guys.